Welcome to the channel, everybody. I am Paulybuck, and I sure am glad to have you with me on this one here today. Today, I sat down with Don Kagans from Kagins Coins, way over there on the West Coast in California, San Francisco kind of area. But this guy and I had a great phone conversation just the other day, and I asked him if he would be willing to tell that story on my YouTube channel with me as a sit-down face-to-face conversation. And he agreed to. Now, what we are talking about, and if you do not know who Dr. Don Kagans is or Kagins Coins, they are the sole provider, the only distributor in the United States of America of the first Spanish bullion coin from the Spanish Royal Mint. This is a great story about how it all came about for him to be the distributor for the United States of America. So stick around. It's about a half-hour video. It's a lot of great information on there about possible, coins that will be next after the bull. We have the Lynx and the bull now. There's two more that's going to follow, and one after that. It's a 5-year program. Also, silver coins coming from the Spanish Royal Mint. Stick around. Enjoy this interview. It is a great one. Thanks, everybody. Hey, I appreciate you being here today and taking time out of your day to do this. We were on the phone yesterday, and you got into a great story about this Spanish Lynx coin, the Spanish bullion from the Spanish Royal Mint. And the story you got into was just amazing to me of how it all came about. And I thought it would be nice if we sat down and you shared that with my viewers here, because there's a lot in the YouTube stacking community that really like this coin, but they don't know, I guess, where it came from and how it came about to be here in the United States. But before we get too far in it, why don't you, I guess, introduce yourself, and we can go from there, a little bit of background, and get right into your story of how it all came about.
Well, I'm Don Kagan. My father started our business in 1933, so we're the oldest family-owned coin company in the United States. I've been a numismatist for 55 or so years, and mostly vintage, historical. I've written a couple books. I have a BA and a PhD in numismatics, so I love the field and have a passion for it. And really, my expertise is on coins of the gold rush. I wrote the reference book on that, and currency, especially for the War of 1812, our first circulating currency. So, and I've been, like I said, I've been around for, for a long time. I really love the field, but my expertise in our company for 55 years that I've been a professional has really dealt with vintage coins, historically important coins, and paper money as well. As great rarities. Our company hasn't really been in the bullion and what we call modern proof space, which really has been going for a couple of decades now. But I was serendipitously in the right place at the right time, I guess, and seized the opportunity to be involved. And it happened. You It happens that my wife and I, Candace and I, like to go to major mints museums when we're traveling, and we like to travel. So we were in Madrid last year in November, and through contacts, we got a nice tour of the mint by the mint director. And when it was over in Madrid, and by the way, they have one of the finest mint museums in the world. So if anybody out there is in Spain and Madrid, go to see it. It's quite fascinating and historical. And at the end, I usually give them a copy of one of my books. And the mint director said, Dr. Kagan, my colleague here is head of our numismatic department, and the and our mint, like the mint director, has a question for you. And he said, in 2 weeks, we're launching for the first time. Spain is launching a bullion program. Uh, similar to the American Eagles, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, etc. But ours will be a little bit different because there'll be limited quantity and what we call reverse proofs, which is a special handling and minting. And we're new at this. Perhaps you know of some distributors in the United States that can help us out. I said, yeah, I know the usual suspects and people who deal in this. But when I went to them after a couple of weeks later, and by the way, they started minting December 1st. It's a 2021 issue. Well, they had spent 2 years trying to get the legislation through and exactly what it says and whatever. So they weren't in total control dealing with government to when that coin should come out. So it's coming out at the end of the year, which is unfortunate because when I contacted the major distributors in the United States, they said, Don, this coin's coming out, in December, and we're already promoting our 22 issues. So I said, yeah, I understand. But then I had some developed some time. Was working on some other projects like the American Numismatic Association, and that was coming to an end. So I had some time. So I said, what would it take, Mr. Mint Director? What would it take to be an exclusive distributor? And he said, well, we'll get back to you. And they did. And he told me what the requirements would be. And I said, I'll take a shot, right? So I went to my colleagues who were in the space and asked them for advice. The first issue was the coin had on one side an Iberian Lynx, which was their mammal for the country, and on the other side the Calamarios, which is the Pillars of Hercules. People might recognize it from the Pieces of Eight. For hundreds of years that plied the oceans, and the Spanish had taken the silver from the New World and some gold and converted into these coins that had this symbol of the two pillars of Hercules representing the old and the new world. And actually that was the origins of our dollar sign. So there was some history there. But we told them, look, they were calling these coins in the Lynx, and we said, there's no resonance with the here in the United States with that name. You have to come up with a new name, and we came up with a name, the Spanish doubloons. Perfect. It has the symbol on the back, and it brings up the name, pirates and treasure. So we had a good name. Still, it was a 2021 issue. It was difficult. The coins came out in December, in January, a year ago this week. I had the coins, and at the fun show in Orlando, Florida, the biggest show of the year, coin show of the year, and it's also coming up this coming week, next week. So I went to my colleagues who handle these coins, and one by one, and told them, hey, listen, here's a new product, and it is a limited quantity, 12,000 issues worldwide. Kagins is the exclusive distributor. We have 1/3 of the issue. And by the way, when I asked them about striking the coins, I asked, hey, can I have the first 1,000 first day of issue coins for me? They said, sure. And then I asked, can I have 200 of those designated as the first 200 or first strikes, right? Because people collect those. And they said, okay. So, all right, I'm going to have these first day of issues, of which 200 of which are going to be first strikes. So I said, can you send 100 to PCGS? I'll send you the labels, and 100 to NGC. said, okay. So those were the first 200 that were struck. And now this is December. So I call up PCGS first and said, how'd we do? We said, well done. Usually 80 some percent, sometimes 90% for the American Eagles of the modern proofs come back 70 versus 69, right? As perfect coin. 94 of them came back 70. I'm going,
Wow.
wow, that's a winner.
No kidding.
So, because people want
What
the
a
fine,
strike,
yeah,
right?
people want the 70. So then the next day I call up NGC. They said, Don, all 100 of the first 100 came back 70. Unprecedented.
Holy cow.
Maybe I shouldn't be sharing this. Excuse me. Maybe I shouldn't be sharing this with your audience because that makes it more common, I guess. But the fact is, it's the highest, consistently highest graded of all modern proof gold coins. So I lucked out there. So
No
I had
kidding.
some of them at the show, at the fun show, and we started selling them. I made sure that we pricing them very competitively with the other modern proof coins that were out there, and then afterwards, I took them to the NGC headquarters, which is in Sarasota, not that far from Orlando. And I presented them to Mark and Andy Salzberg. Mark Salzberg, who was a co-founder of PCGS in 1986. In 87, he opened up, he left PCGS and started NGC. His son, Andy, has been dealing in the modern proof, grading modern proof coins. And so they knew really what was a winner and not. And he said, Don, you got a winner. You don't even know what you have. Nobody else has an exclusive for a major mint. I said, well, I want to make this a win-win for everybody. So I want them priced right, and I want everybody to make out on this. It was a fun project. So he says, well, we'll help you with that. And Andy spent, a week coming up with a 5-year plan for Spain. I mean, can you imagine somebody going to the United States Mint and saying, hey, we got a plan for how you should sell modern proof coins, right? or the Canadian Mint. Well, it's interesting because they're new and they wanted advice. Coincidentally, the next week I'm in New York International Show, and I had invited the director of the Mint, Jose Miguel, to come from Spain to New York with his colleagues who got sick, unfortunately. But he came to the New York and sat at my table and met a lot of the international people, the U.S. people who handle international coins. And Mark Salzberg happened to be there, and we discussed it, and we presented Andy and Mark's 5-year plan for Spain. He said, let's go for it. So, of course, he has to go up the line all the way to the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Culture. And the first thing I said is, when we think of Spain, we don't think of an Iberian lynx. We think of what, Pauly? What animal do we think of when we think of Spain?
And we both said this at the same time yesterday on our phone call. It's the bull.
The bull.
It's the raging bull, right?
Right. So interesting. They said to me, and we have a socialist government. We're a little concerned about the backlash from bullfighting and cruelty to animals. I said, the bull means a lot more than that. Merrill Lynch has a bull, it means strength, etc. Well, they convinced the powers that be that bull should be the next coin. And interesting, I said, well, send me some images and I will take them around to the various dealers and distributors and individuals at the coin shows I'm going to, and they sent me 4 images, and I did a survey, and the one image that most of, well, majority of the people said that they wanted to see on the next coin, the bull, they adopted. How about that? So the people, what a concept. The people who are selling the product are influencing the mint who's making them, right? Then Andy says, you should come up with the most popular denomination, which is a 1/10 ounce gold coin. I didn't know that, but the price point's about 250. Now it's almost $300 a coin, but a lot of people can afford that. And Spain says, okay, we'll do that. And so we have kind of a 5-year program. So now we have the 1 ounce links from 21. That's almost a sellout. There's like 12,000 that they made worldwide. There's less than 1,000 now available. Um, the bull, we're convinced the bull, which there are 15,000 available to be made. That's going to be a sellout. It's a very popular coin. The 1 ounce bulls, and now we have the 1/10 ounce link, 2022 date, but it's a 1 ounce link, a 1/10 ounce link. So yeah, there are 50,000 of those worldwide. We get a third of those, and that's probably going to be a sellout too.
Really, that coin for a little while, it didn't do much for me, and then it just for some reason just got to me, and I said, I got to find one, and I'm gonna pick one up, and I did, and that's why I bought it in the 1/10 version, because I'm just not a collector per se of gold coins, more of a stacker, American Gold Eagles, right? And I wanted to have at least one of that coin, because it is a first time for them doing this, and I just wanted to see what was going to continue with it. Being a reverse proof is probably a lot of collectors' favorite strike. It's a beautiful strike, beautiful coin.
It is indeed. Again, we got 1,000 of the bulls to be first day of issues, as well as the first 200 of them to be one of the first strikes. So we have that available. Um, we have that through our distributors like Apmex and others, and we have the 1/10 ounce also, limited quantity, 70s and some 69s, which are, and we told Spain, they said, well, we want to get X amount, of percent over melt for retail. I said, look, you need to price these. You have a new product. You need to price it to be competitive with the other coins out there, the Canadian, the British, Britannia, all of those, even the American Eagle, which right now is a lot more. But we need to be able to price them. The retail price in the United States needs to be no more than 22% over melt using credit cards. So maybe there's a cash discount, whatever, so that it can be priced competitively and people can own it. And of course, gold's gone up, so everybody has bought it probably. By March, we'll have a 1/10 ounce baby bull, and we hope by April, May, we'll have perhaps a stallion, uh, or a Spanish horse or stallion for 23. And we're also looking at a 1 ounce silver coin. So that will be great. We're discussing the parameters for that. We think we could sell hundreds of thousands of those, provided the price point is good. And Spain has listened to us and responded, and we've been able to price things very competitively, and we plan to do that going forward.
And that's another reason I'm glad you kind of came here and sat down, because I don't know if many do know about your particular website that these coins are available on, and they are very well priced, considering the only other place that I saw them is Apmex. And on your particular website, they're pretty well priced for someone that's looking to buy one today, tomorrow, the next day, you know.
So the bullion related, the raw, what we call raw coins, are adjusted every day for the price of gold, right? Um, the I believe the 1/10 is like 22%, and the 1 ounce is 10% cash over melt. This is what you can get them for normally. But our plan is not to be able to not to offer them to be competitive with our distributors. Right now, we're just doing it because you can go to Kagins and see the products. You can go to Atmex and see all the products. We want we want the distributors like Atmex and others to for people to go to buy. So we don't want to compete with them. They're our distributors. So um, that's our plan right now. It's a matter of marketing and getting the word out, Paulie, and we want to thank you for reaching out and helping us get the word out that these coins, which are beautiful, are available and are competitive. And we made some boxes, some with the M monogram. We've had those boxes made up for both a raw 1 ounce, a raw 10th ounce, and for slab coins, for certified coins, for one or two. So, and then we envision maybe a set box to have all five or something for 5 years. We're responding to people. If you have ideas, you can go to our website and send us an email and say, hey, why don't you do this? I mean, we getting our ideas from others and from things that we've done in our, for, 80 some, 85 years, 90 years next year, this next year.
And that's just it. That's the difference between, you know, a job and a passion. It's something you enjoy doing. And
Yeah.
once people realize the right passion, life is so much better.
Yeah,
You know?
that means
Even even the struggles are fun, you know.
Well,
They
I'd rather
might
not
be
have a
irritating, but you go back and you feel good about everything as a whole, you know.
well, pretty much. I made my mistakes, and I've had
We
ups
all
and
have.
downs like most everybody. But you persevere, and they can't take this away from you. So,
No.
well, Paulie, I over the years I recognize, people say, "Oh, you're so lucky," and whatever. But sometimes luck is a matter of seizing opportunities when they present themselves. I wasn't looking for this. I could have just said no or pass it on or whatever. But when people said no, no, no to me, I'm going, why not? I'll give it a shot. Yeah, it's a risk. And I didn't realize how much capital is involved in. I mean, you're talking, in the millions of dollars when you're trying to sell thousands of ounces of gold, and so you have to have or create the infrastructure to develop it. I luckily I hired my son to help me with it. Interesting, Paulie. I mean, a lot of people listening to you have varied degrees of interest in the area. My son has no interest in the history and the art and all the things that I love about and my father loved about numismatics, but he likes the idea of operations, a back office operation of handling all the different coins. I mean, they're widgets, right? I mean, you don't have to know anything about the coins really, except that, this is 1 pure ounce of gold or 1 ounce of silver, right? And how many they made or whatever. But, we have like 27 different iterations, products, SKUs, if you would, for three items, right? I mean, PCGS, NGC, 6970s, first strikes, first day of issues, right? So, and then we got more coming, right? So this is growing. So I needed somebody to help me with the operations, the fulfillment, handling, working with my distributors. So I got my I sucked my son into through the back door. So that's been a great relationship too. Oh, I got to tell you something.
Yes, sir.
You haven't gotten your bull yet, right? So
No,
you're
no.
going to see something new. Spain is state of the art in manufacturing coins. They have come up with a patented, probably the biggest advancement in counterfeit detection devices in decades. On the bull, they have embedded through engraving it's like a hologram. If you look at it, you can see four different images in this circle, and
Yes.
it's not a hologram because it's an engraving. They call it a quadruple latent image, but it's so cool. We think most other countries will be adopting this device as a major anti-counterfeit. You know, people who buy gold, some are concerned that how can I make sure this is really a 999 gold? Well,
Uh-huh.
and the real product. But this device takes all the question out of that. It's not tungsten inside. It's
I was gonna ask you about that because it wasn't on the links and they adopted it
that's right.
to the bull, the
Just came out.
1 ounce version. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I
So
saw somebody else did I think a video on that, as a matter of fact.
we're very pleased with the relationship with Spain, and A, they're listening to us. B, they have a superior product. C, they're easy to work with, and while we're dealing with a bureaucracy, because we're dealing with a government and a mint,
Uh-huh.
they've been able to move uh, to getting more and more things done and developing. They're looking. We have a plan for a whole new series, and in addition to the animals, a whole new series that we think will blow people away. I think it's a really cool. I'm not going to tell you what it is because,
No, don't do that.
but it
But
would be a
that's
whole new. It
gold. I
is
mean, that's going beyond your 5-year plan with this gold
well, actually,
bullion
it's
series,
part
you
of
know.
it. It doesn't have to be limited to one series and one a year. Uh, we even have major distributors who have relationships with other mints, not necessarily one of the big EU mints or whatever, but um, that have exclusive distributorship of a certain series, right? So some of those people have approached us about, can Spain do and these are legal tender coins. So can Spain do a legal tender issue that commemorates such and such, and come out with a series like that? And we have worked with Spain to do, and they're amenable to at least looking at it and seeing if that has legs going up the ladder. So again, they're listening to us, we're listening to you and your audience. You got an idea for Spain that you'd like to see happen? Let us know. I mean, the worst they can say is that we can't do it.
Yeah, and I'll leave all your information that's available on your website. I always leave that information for my viewers to make it easy for them in the description of any video that I publish. So all his company's information will be down below in the description of this video.
Thank you.
Well, again, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to sit down with us and let us know some more information on these, what I call beautiful coins, for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll keep you informed as we continue coming out and rolling out new products. Check our
Yeah,
website
I'd
at
love to
Kagins.
do this again a few
Sure.
different times as things do get launched and go forward. And if there is anything else that you can give us hints to as they come out, that's great too. But
We'll
no,
certainly do
this
that.
was fun.
All
This was
right.
fun.
Well, maybe in the spring when we come out with some more products, you'll be one of the first to know.
Well, I tell you, it feels like spring over here in Michigan today. It's about 60 degrees and raining, and it's December 30th.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, welcome to the new year.
Yeah, right. We're getting closer.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I appreciate it again. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. All right. Well, I want to thank Don again for coming onto the channel and doing this sit down with me. And I hope we get to do it again. It sounds like we're going to be doing a couple of these as new releases come out. This is a very nice guy, very nice to talk with. He really enjoys telling that story. We had a great conversation on the phone and we had some laughs, and this just worked out great. So it's a good thing for us as the stacking community to be up to date on these new Spanish coins if this is something that you're going to be a collector of. Not only that, the silver versions that will possibly be coming out, and what's next as far as just completely different series other than the animals that they want to do. So stay tuned to this channel. You heard it here first. You'll continue to hear it here first. As always, I appreciate your time, everybody. Thank you.